Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 10th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see our next system on tap out over the Gulf of Alaska, moving towards the Pacific Northwest. This system is relatively weak, at least when we're going to compare it to what we're going to be having at some point as the fall and the winter months. But it is one of the first here as we start to go through our fall transition, and this will bring some precipitation across the region. We'll take a look at that in some detail. We'll take a look at who's going to be favored for these impacts, and it's going to keep the onshore flow going. We'll take a look at the smoke forecast and the extended forecast as we go through the video this morning. Taking a look at the visible satellite imagery, you can see still that smoke coming off a lot of the Oregon Cascades and a lot of the Rocky Mountains here across Idaho. And until we get a good drenching rain, that's going to continue to be a problem. However, this system should be targeting some of western Oregon the best. So we're going to take a look at those precipitation amounts, and hopefully this can help to start to extinguish some of those fires. Elsewhere, you can see the Olympic Mountains there above that stratus marine there. Mount Rainier would be right here. You can see this marine there all the way through western Washington. You can see Vancouver Island here, and there goes our next frontal system out over the Pacific Ocean, quickly making its way in as we go through the day today. Still got a lot of fires out there, and if you want to check out this Western Fire Chief site, you can do that and see all these individual fires. You can see how much they've grown in the last 24 hours and what the names of these fires are. Had some pretty intense fires the last month or so across portions of the Rocky Mountains of Idaho, as you know. If we take a look at the thunderstorm threat here, as we go through today and tomorrow on the right, you can see that we do have coastal threat here and even towards the Portland metro both days. And some of this could even be moving up towards Olympia or Tacoma here as we go through the day tomorrow. I'll show you that weather model here in a moment. So looking at Spokane, talking about cooler with rain. You can see Spokane getting a little bit here, not much for Moses Lake and some of the Columbia Basin here, but anything that falls at this time of year is definitely a benefit. And we're going to continue some of these gusty winds at times out here as well. Now, looking at the fire threat, this is for today, no doubt due to the westerly winds, these gusty winds coming through these slopes of the Cascades and some of those lower relative humidities that get going. You can see that for southeast Oregon as well and on in through portions of Idaho. And as we go through day two, that kind of slides down across southeast Oregon, Idaho, and look at this critical across a lot of Nevada, moving into Utah and extreme southern Idaho as well. Now, if we look at Hoquiam, I'm showing you the yearly chart here. You can see January all the way to where we are now in September. You can see the downward trend in the temperatures coming and the upward trend in the precipitation. It is that time of year where we start to get the mid-latitude cyclones back into the Pacific Northwest. And of course, that's what we got on tap here that's moving in tomorrow. But you can also see the record highs would be on this red line here on the top of the graph. And you can see how they really drop off as we go on in towards the winter months. So looking at this weather station here, you can see everybody who has one of these weather stations, you can click on any one of these individual locations here, and it's very fun to have one of these attached to your place of residence. It gives you so much information. You can compare it to your neighbors, and these stations actually will talk to each other, trying to harmonize the haptic rain gauge and trying to make sure they're getting the rainfall right. You can also look at your information wherever you are, real-time data. You can see this wind updating every few seconds. You can see when you last detected lightning, your pressure, your temperature, your UV index, how your station is doing, all kinds of good stuff. You can see how the wind just updated there. A very attractive unit there also. So if you want one of those, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Now, taking a look at the North American model, high resolution, composite reflectivity. Let's put this into motion, and this is what the Doppler radar may look like here over the next 60 hours. You can see as we go through this afternoon and evening, starts to impact Vancouver Island and some of the northwest Washington coastline here, and then it starts to bring precipitation as we go through tonight across western Washington here. You might get a brief bout of moderate rain with this frontal passage here, and thunderstorm potential as well over the next couple of days moving through the area. You kind of see the spin in the atmosphere as this system moves over the top. Stronger storms possibly across maybe for Helena and portions of the Rocky Mountains, maybe some of Idaho also. And you can see the spin in the atmosphere is probably going to give a nice drenching rain to some of the Rocky Mountains and some portions of Montana that dramatically need it. They're under some extreme and exceptional drought out there. So this will be a very beneficial system here. And if we scroll back, you can see it does bring a little bit of precipitation here for some of the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon, where there are numerous fires producing plentiful amounts of smoke as we speak. Now, looking at the North American model, I just wanted to show this. It does show a little bit of snow for some of the higher terrain near the Rocky Mountains. So if you're way off in the backcountry, you might feel that chilly air out there as we go on in through Thursday morning across Idaho and some of southwest Montana. It's just the very highest peaks here across Washington and Oregon, getting some of that. But, you know, definitely not a summer-like system here. Definitely more like fall. If we take a look at lightning flash density potential over the next 48 hours, as we go through this evening here, you can't rule something out for the coastal areas. And you can see this maybe moving up towards Olympia and Tacoma. Can't completely rule one out here for some of the Puget Sound as well. It should be of the one and done variety. Fairly progressive system there as it continues to move off across eastern portions and then out of our area here as we go through the day Thursday. And also 80-meter wind speeds, just kind of showing you we have the nice onshore flow going on and the gusty winds for these slopes of the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, continuing on in through tonight and on in through Wednesday at times. But yeah, any smoke should be pushing off to the east here. Looks like Seattle, Portland, Willamette Valley, Southwest BC are doing very nicely as far as smoke is concerned. And I'll show you that map actually right now. And you can see the entire Pacific Northwest. And again, a lot of smoke across portions of eastern Oregon and Idaho. And that will continue to be the case until we can get some of these systems to start dropping some precipitation out there and putting an end to our fire season, which is still going here as we go on through near the mid portion of September. Now, wider view of things here, we got Alaska, Washington, California. We're looking at the entirety of North America. Put this into motion. 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. That is our system coming through. First things first. Very transient ridge moves through, and then we quickly get more troughing as we go through the mid portion of September. And you can see the ridge out here with the Gulf of Alaska, but that does allow for that northwest flow and for troughing to continue along some of the northwest coast of or the west coast of North America, and then even one more trough at 240 hours out. But then we've been showing some ridging trying to build in the very extent of the models. I don't want to put too much stock into that right now, but just to remind you that we can still warm back up and get some little taste of summer here as we go towards the end of the month of September. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And if we look at the GFS, the 12Z, this one is hot off the presses. Here goes our initial system here. Transient ridge kind of moves through as we go through the week coming up, but then we get the troughing as we go through next weekend again. You can see the ridging out over the Gulf of Alaska, reinforcing some of this troughing as we go on and through almost hour 200 there. And then the GFS wants to build this interesting ridge as well. It's totally different than what the European was showing, but the models have been hinting at this. And you can see that very deep trough well out over the Gulf of Alaska would help to amplify that ridge. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. We could get a little bit more summer-like weather as we go towards the end of the month, but no promises, just a fantasy forecast right now. If we look at the European ensemble mean for total precipitation, what kind of precipitation amounts are we looking at? You can see not bad for Seattle. It's right around 1/3 of an inch, but better amounts across western Oregon, the coastal areas. Look at the Cascades. This would be very beneficial to some of these fires, anything that's not right to the east of the crest here for the Oregon Cascades. You can see even some for the east slopes of the Cascades as well. But yeah, nice precipitation maker here, and especially across western Montana, as I mentioned, in some of the Rocky Mountains where they dramatically need this. Got fires ongoing and some exceptional drought out there. And then we scroll out to hour 144, and then the next trough will be arriving. But let's take a look at daily 2-meter max temperatures. Check it out for Seattle today. Looks like 71, maybe some upper 70s for Portland. Here we go through Wednesday. Look at the cool down coming as the system and toggling back and forth between today and tomorrow. You're going to feel the cool down, Mother Nature's air conditioning across the entire Pacific Northwest coming up here. And if we scroll out and out to the extended, you see no warm up here as we go through the upcoming week. So very nice. I know the mossbacks will love to hear that. And the mossback population is definitely more concentrated west of the Cascades. So things are definitely warmer during the later spring, summer, and early fall across the eastern portions. But you're going to feel the cool down over there as well. And here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook for the west coast. Below normal signal across much of the west coast, above normal signal. Look at that signal there for the Pacific Northwest. Very nice as we go through September 19th. Now take a look at the 8 to 14 day quickly, and you can see again below normal and then above normal here for precipitation. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. We're going to break everything down again tomorrow. We'll try to get some model agreement and see what is upcoming. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.